name's Nate Frederick. Thank you, Isabel House, for having me play a few tunes for y'all today. I just released a record, Different Shade of Blue, February 26th, and I'm going to play some songs off of that record. This first song is called To the Night. Well, it's been far too long since life is sent a happy song. If one heavens to come my way, sing it loud to the end of the day. Been a long week, Pete, I need to find a release. It's got me moved too fast, time to slow down. Life ain't such a drag. 'Cause I got this feeling things are gonna be alright. Where we do worry, cast them to the night. Take some time to look around. Might be an unfamiliar sound. It picks you right up off the ground. Free your mind from the inside out. Been a little offbeat lately, dancing with 2 left feet. Hadn't always been this bad. I guess I know now, and I ain't looking back. 'Cause I got this feeling things are gonna be alright. Where we do worry, just cast them to the night. Oh, where we do worry, oh yeah. I got this feeling that things are gonna be alright. Where we do worry, let's cast them to the night. Oh, where we do worry, let's cast them to the night. Next song I wrote with Joy Taylor. It's called Patches. Slid them on Saturday morning. There's nothing like pair of jeans, worn in mama's bandana, patchwork come undone. Slide into home, the back right pocket, just couldn't hold on. There's nothing mama can't sew, but she couldn't stitch or fix this time. I guess that's the way it goes. Some things you can fix till they just stay broke. You can reminisce till the cows come home. There ain't no sense when there's too many holes. So it's in with the new, and out with the old. Dad drove it 10 years before. Brother got the keys to that Chrysler 4-door. By the time he was 16, he was 23. He said good luck with that thing, a smile and a wink. He tossed him the key. Well, they ran for a week. That old engine just gave out. I guess that's the way it goes. Some things you can fix till they just stay broke. You can reminisce till the cows come home. There ain't no sense when there's too many holes. So guess that's the way it goes. Some things you can fix till it just stay broke. You reminisce till the cows come home. There ain't no sense when there's too many holes. So it's in with the new and out with the old. Oh, it's in with the new and out with the old. All right, that was the last song on the record. It's one of my favorite songs. This next tune was the first song we put out for the release of this record in January. It's kind of about my drives back home from Nashville to Springfield, Missouri, where I'm from. And kind of the halfway point for me was always Paducah, Kentucky. And that's what this song's about. The song's called Paducah. 2 hands on the wheel, early morning's got me trying to make that sunrise of nicotine. Strong coffee, somewhere between what I knew, what I've come to know. It's hard to find which direction to go. Something peaceful, lonesome on the highway. Keep soul in motion, helps you travel on. North of 65, west on through Paducah. I can't tell if I'm leaving home, headed home again. Seven-hour drive hadn't done much changing. What it does to the mind of a man, I can't say it's same. Hellos and goodbyes, reconciliation, finding ways to let her go again. Something peaceful, lonesome on the highway. Keeps soul in motion, helps you travel on. North of 65, west on through Paducah. I can't tell if I'm leaving home, headed home again, still out here on my own. 5 years come and gone, say that's all I've ever known. Something peaceful, lonesome on the highway. Keeps soul in motion, helps you travel on. South down 65 as I pass through Paducah. I can't tell if I'm leaving home, headed home again. Two hands on the wheel, early morning's got me trying to make that sunrise of nicotine, strong coffee. Thank you once again for having me. I'll play some tunes for y'all. This next song is the first track on the record. It's called Be the One. Hey, darling, don't you know that it's perfectly alright you stay inside and take it slow? 'Cause it's raining, anything out here you can do, like slide on no out of the blue if you want me to. But don't look now, 'cause I'm on your side of town. And if you're lazy and you're looking to get something done, baby, let me be the one. You know, girl, I wanna be the one. Hey, darling. Hey, lady, stay right where you are. Girl, whatever it is you need, I'll get it all, it ain't too far. Don't look now, 'cause I'm on your side of town. And if you're lazy and you're looking to get something done, baby, let me be the one. You know, girl, I wanna be the one. It's been so long since we had each other to ourselves. It's always something new through your song. But don't look now, 'cause I'm on your side of town. And if you're lazy and you're looking to get something done, baby, let me be the one. You know, girl, I wanna be the one. And I always wanna be the one. All right. River pearl, sweet gum trees, tangled in the sheets with my sweet Louise. Ain't got time to sleep, living in a dream. Sure, I miss my mom and pa still sending them letters back to Arkansas. I didn't plan to stay, couldn't seem to leave. Said it was so long, freewheeling, floating on the breeze. Say home is just a feeling. Tennessee's been good to me. Oh yeah. Been through Seattle and I brought the rain. Blew through New Orleans like a hurricane. And Pasadena got the worst of me. And then I found it, my only reason to stay in one place more than the season. And no denying, oh, the state I'm in. Said it was so long, freewheeling, floating on the breeze. Say home is just a feeling. Tennessee's been good to me. Oh yeah. Said it was so long, freewheeling, floating on the breeze. Say home is just a feeling. Tennessee's been good to me. Say home is just a feeling. Tennessee's been good to me. All right. Tom T. Hall song here next. Or no, that's not right. Danny O'Keefe. Good Time Charlie's Got the Blues. Everybody's gone away. Seen them moving to LA. Not a soul I know around. Everybody leaving town. Some caught a freight, some caught a plane. Find that sunshine, lead the rain. Say this town's a waste of time. Guess they're right, it's a waste of mine. Some gotta win, some gotta lose. It's a good time, Charlie's got the blues. My mind keeps telling me ain't no kid at 33. Play around, you'll lose your wife. Play too long, you'll lose your life. I got the pills to ease the pain. Can't find a thing, ease the rain. No, I tried, settle down. Everybody's leaving town. Some gotta win, some gotta lose. Good time, Charlie's got the blues. Some gotta win, some got to lose. Good time, Charlie's got the blues. Some gotta win, some got to lose. Good time, Charlie's got the blues. Song on the record, it's called Caroline. Black-haired beauty queen on my mind, smooth as a summer breeze, so thoughtful and kind. Oh, it's too easy to see everyone else and there's Caroline. There have been other girls come and go, but I'm yet to find right hand to hold. Oh, it's too easy to see there's everyone else and there's Caroline. Oh, it's too easy to see everyone else and there's Caroline. Oh, Caroline. said there comes a day when the stars align. I'm gonna take the girl, gonna make her mine. Oh, it's too easy to see there's everyone else and there's Caroline. Oh, Caroline. Oh, it's too easy to see there's everyone else and there's Caroline. Oh, Caroline. Oh, Caroline. Oh, Caroline. This next song is about an 18-year-old looking for an older woman. It's called The Dreamer. I remembered her from years before. I was 18, she was 34. I've been on a search for something more, and there she was. I saw her standing there across the room with a pit in my stomach that was about to bloom. I finally mustered up just enough courage to say hello. I'd known Katie was her name. She didn't remember mine, but it was all the same. And as I threw my hook into a wishing well, we were interrupted by an older fella. 2 tall drinks and a shitty grin. I could tell that he was her man. There was only one thing left to do, so I laid it on her. I said, I've been trying to make you love me from the other side of this room. Spent most of my years to chase my tail, and it's brought me right here to you. Maybe young, but a man can dream, can't he? You're damn right he can. There's a lot to be learned when you're 18. The world was a big place for a boy like me. But if you don't put your hand in the flame, feel the fire, you might as well just pack it up and retire. And I don't regret a word I said or the cheap shot that I took to the head from her boyfriend. When I leaned in to give her a kiss. Sorry, miss. I've been trying to make you love me from the other side of this room. Spent most of my years to chasing my tail, and it's brought me right here to you. Maybe young, but a man can dream, can't he? Damn right he can. Sure, there's a moral to this song. You're never too old, you're never too young. Follow that feeling inside your heart. It's the best place to start. I've been trying to make you love me from the other side of this room. Spent most of my years just chasing my tail, and it's brought me right here to you. Maybe young, but a man can dream, can't he? You're damn right he can. title track off my record, Different Shade of Blue. It's called Different Shade of Blue. I myself believe an apparition. Did I beat us fine at it on my own? But now I find myself in this here condition, missing your sweet voice on the telephone, because we hit all the high notes. Now I'm flying so low, and the grapevine's telling me not to come back around. Is this greener grass I'm standing on the other side of you? It's turning me different shade of blue. There was a day, honey, when I called you mine. We made love at supper and a bottle of wine, and I know I promised you security. Yeah, who was I to tell myself to leave? Because we hit all the high notes. Now I'm flying so low, and the grapevine's telling me not to come back around. Is this greener grass I'm standing on the other side of you? Is this turning me different shade of blue? Because we hit all the high notes. Now I'm flying so low, and the grapevine's telling me not to come back around. Is this greener grass I'm standing on the other side of you? Is this turning me different shade of blue? It's turning me different shade of blue. Thank you, Isabel House, for having me come play. My name's Nate Frederick. Hope you guys have a fantastic Sunday. See y'all later. Thanks.
Hello and welcome to the 13th annual Hooray for Hollywood event presented by KY3 and KSPR 33, benefiting Isabel's House. Thank you so much to Nate Frederick for kicking off tonight. And tonight we are celebrating, of course, Hollywood's biggest night, and it might look a little bit different as we are bringing you the red carpet straight to you through your TV screens.
A lot of things have been different over the past year, in fact, but while things may have seemed unlike previous years in 2020, our direct care team was able to diligently serve 134 children and 72 families, all the while navigating the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Because at Isabel's House, thanks to the generous support of our community and donors like you, our doors have stayed open 24/7, 365 days this past year.
That's so great. And while the light at the end of the tunnel is certainly near, this year we will continue to put the safety of our supporters our volunteers, the vendors, and staff first, but continue to bring the same excitement and the fun to a new virtual experience. This was made possible by our numerous sponsors, including our friends, supporting cast, stars, directors, producers, and the marquees. And we have a lot of ways you can get involved tonight. First of all, we do have the ballot competition, which needs to be done, obviously, before the show starts. We have Sponsor a Child, so you can support the kiddos. We have a gorgeous diamond that you can buy raffle tickets for, and then also a lot of great auction items as well for you to bid on.
So tonight, please gather your family and friends and join us for our California Dreamin theme event straight from the comfort of your own home. Experience the elegance of Hollywood in the Ozarks like you never have before.
Now, you might be wondering who the awards will go to this evening. Let's meet with Kelsey and Evan to see who their picks are.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Kelsey, and tonight I have here with me Evan, our resident expert. Evan, if you want to give the audience at home a little background on yourself.
Okay. I'm not sure how much of an expert, but they asked me to join. Last year I won the contest for picking the Oscar winners, and I am a big movie fan. I'm up to about 65 movies already this year.
Yeah, that's what makes you the expert here.
So, I do love movies. I love watching them. I'm an emergency physician by training.
Okay.
I live down in Nixa and have come to Hooray for Hollywood several years in a row. So
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Well, we're glad to have you here. So I think tonight what we're going to do is we're going to cover some of the kind of top categories, like Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Picture, and Best Director. So you want to start off with Best Actor. I know that you've said that you've seen all of the movies, which I think we were chatting a little bit earlier, and I've kind of slacked this year. Been watching a lot of MasterChef, some reality TV at home.
Right.
But so who do you think should win for Best Actor?
Who do I think should win or will win? So
Let's start off with should win.
should win. I think Anthony Hopkins is the
Okay.
clear standout here. This was a transcendent performance for him, he in The Father, and he plays a man with Alzheimer's, and you are living in this movie very much from his perspective, and he carries it in a way that's just phenomenal, and is as much as he did with Silence of the Lambs, and I think people will always remember that performance. This really is probably even superior to that. It was really outstanding. I think who will win is probably going to be Chadwick Boseman. You know,
Sure.
His performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was outstanding as well, and he certainly is worthy of nomination in the category. And I think just the fact of his recent death is
Right.
going to get a little bit of additional sympathy.
That it would be
support
like
for
a
that.
posthumous award. Yeah,
I think
sure.
so. And I don't know if that's a shame or not, because he's a very deserving actor, and I don't mean to minimize that at all. You know, and others in the category, you know, Gary Oldman was really outstanding in Mank, and certainly we'll talk about it later with Best Pictures, but that Hollywood loves to pat themselves on the back.
Sure.
And so in that role, he may certainly get some significant votes in the category, and he did have a great performance. I think people would really enjoy if you haven't seen Mank, but also very good. Riz Ahmed in The Sound of Metal, which again we'll talk about a little bit more later. Kind of a new actor on the scene. We haven't seen a lot of him, but his performance in that movie was fantastic, and you really bought into the fact that this was a man struggling with addiction and with his deafness, and how to proceed in life with those complications.
Well, in that film, he's a heavy metal drummer. Is that correct?
He is,
Yeah.
and suddenly loses his hearing,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
kind of the struggles of going through that. And then Stephen Yeun in Minari, I thought was a very good performance. Frankly, I just didn't see anything in that really put him in that upper echelon.
Up in the upper echelon, sure. Okay. Yeah, I will be honest, the only thing that I can think of whenever I see Anthony Hopkins is some fava beans and a nice Chianti. So.
Exactly. Well, this may change that. If you haven't seen The Father, and you got to pay to watch it, kind of thing right now on streaming, but it's a fantastic film, really well done.
Okay, so moving on to our Best Actress category. I guess we'll go through who do you think should win and who do you think will?
Who should win? I think Frances McDormand probably should win.
Okay.
I'm not sure who will win. I think this is a tricky category. Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman was a really powerful role. I think that will really get people's attention. If you haven't seen that movie, it's about a woman that was sexually assaulted in medical school, and kind of a revenge story with a different twist. I think we're all used to revenge stories and people going out and killing everyone, bloody scenes. This is a very different take on that, and she really carries it off exceptionally well. So I think there's a good chance there. I just saw The United States versus Billie Holiday, and Andra Day is extremely convincing in that role as well. And again, you've got some Hollywood arts kind of background there, so it may get some votes there. Vanessa Kirby in Pieces of a Woman, again, another really powerful movie. Trigger warnings in that one. If you've ever had a lost pregnancy or dealt with that or particularly upset by that, be very careful there. Viola Davis in Ma Rainey was Ma Rainey. She was really spectacular there, and another top contender in that category. So who would I vote for? I don't know. I'm probably going to end up voting for Frances McDormand as my favorite, but there are several very, very strong candidates.
And I'm still kind of obsessed with her performance in Three Billboards.
Right.
So I'm with you there. I guess I'm picking up some of that Oscars expertise coming from
There
you.
you go.
So I'll go with you with that one. So moving forward, we've got our Best Director category. What are your thoughts there?
So yeah, and another really interesting one. Chloe Zhao in Nomadland, I think, is a contender. I believe she won the Golden Globe in this category, and I think there's a strong sentiment for her being a favorite.
Well, she made history, I think, as the first Asian
female
director
really amazing
to be
because
nominated.
this is a movie that's pure Americana in every sense, with the RVs and living in that lifestyle, and yet she really did a great job of capturing the essence of freedom and independence and what that means, even when it kind of goes against everybody else's traditional ideas of seeing someone struggling. Well, why don't you just do this? But she was able to convey that through Frances McDormand's character in a way that really allows you, if nothing else, to really see what America is and how freedom is displayed in different people and different personalities. So I think there's a good chance there. Thomas Vinterberg probably won't win it, but Another Round is a really interesting movie and a really kind of unique take on alcoholism and its impact on society, its impact on individuals, and he does a really remarkable job of coming across as not super preachy about how terrible alcohol is, but in kind of a balanced approach of its role in our society and how it can have both negative and positive impacts on people. And probably very deserving, but I think because it's in Danish and it's just not going to be spoiled, I think probably his chances there aren't great. David Fincher with Mank, again, this is a movie that's going to appeal to the Hollywood crowd, and there were a lot of really interesting creative choices made in that movie, and also probably pretty deserving, at least of the nomination. And then Lee Isaac Chung with Minari is, I think is going to probably not win it. Minari is a really interesting movie, also pure Americana, and yet almost no traditional white people in there, and it's really a strong story about what it means to pursue that American dream of making your own business and building your own life in our country, and I think that's conveyed exceptionally well through here. And then Promising Young Woman, I'm not feeling real strong about that as a top contender for this
category.
Yeah, it's a great movie, but I'm not sure it comes across as in this category.
Okay, so here we have our Best Picture category, and I'm going to ask you, who do you think should win?
Should win, I think, should be The Father.
Okay.
I was really powerfully moved by that movie, and in some ways it sort of sucks the air out of the room at the conclusion, but it manages to put you in this world in such a way that you are off balance the whole time, and you are really feel like you can maybe experience and sense what someone with Alzheimer's is going through, the confusion, the disorientation, the fact that you feel like you know what's real and yet it's not, and it's done in just such a creative, powerful way that really, I think it comes back to the the direction and the acting in there that really allow you to convey that and feel that all the way through. And there are just so many subtle touches. It's one of those movies that deserves watching multiple times because you will clearly miss things as you go through it. And I think it speaks to a problem we can all associate with. We all have family members that have dementia or have other problems, and how you deal with that as a family, how you deal with it as an individual, what are the right choices and wrong choices to make. It's got a lot of dimension and a lot of depth to it. What I think will win is I think Mank, honestly. I just, again, it goes back to that whole what is Hollywood
They like to
love
pat themselves on the back.
and in fairness, it's a good movie.
Sure.
And it, if you're a fan of Citizen Kane, this is a movie about Al Mankiewicz, who was the primary writer for Citizen Kane. And it's about him. It's not really about Citizen Kane, and yet they use the black and white. They use the period costumes and designs to really put you into that world of what things may have been like at that time. There's some outstanding performances in it. It's creatively really interesting. I think having seen Citizen Kane will help you enjoy this movie more, because otherwise I think you're going to have a little bit hard time relating to it, but you don't have to. I mean, I think you'll get a lot out of it. And because of some of those creative choices that were made and the way it kind of reflects that period of when Citizen Kane was made, I do think it's a worthy candidate to win. It just wouldn't be my personal choice out of this particular list. Certainly Nomadland, I think, has to be a high consideration and is a possible winner. The Trial of the Chicago 7, we haven't really talked about before now. Wonderful movie. Really, again, the setting of that was when I was very, very, very young, and I remember nothing about that. But there are characters to love and characters to hate, and it brings you back to a time where civil rights, again, were just in their infancy and trying to explore that. And the depth of the hate that some people had, the judge in this movie is just an awful human being. And what I subsequently read is that they toned down some of the things he did in the courtroom, including tying up one of the defendants in the case in the courtroom.
Wow.
It's really unbelievable. So in that sense, it was extremely well made. It really kind of gives you some background on some history, and I enjoyed that in. Also on this, we've got Sound of Metal, which is one of those, if you've got a great sound system in your house, if you're an audiophile and you've got that subwoofer you crank, sit down, turn off the lights, crank the volume. They do some sound manipulation, and I believe this got nominated for one of the sound categories, that really is impactful and really makes you feel like you're part of the movie. Of all the movies in the categories here, it really does a great job with that, where you're bouncing back and forth from loud, heavy metal to death to normal volume, and it moves you through that and really kind of changes the mood and the feel as you go through it, and really well done. And it's a great story as well, and it really kind of tells the story of what it's like to suddenly have a disability and how people deal with that, both emotionally and what your expectations are of that going forward, and how you think you can fix it, and maybe what the reality is not necessarily always matching what you think you want.
Sure.
And so, again, another deserving. Promising Young Woman, I can't remember if we talked about that very much, but that's a story, we did. We mentioned about the woman in mid school who was sexually assaulted and kind of where she goes with that. Again, I don't think it's a Best Picture winner, but a great movie, pretty powerful moving through it. Let's see, what else have we talked about here? Judas and the Black Messiah we haven't discussed. Again, another movie that really deals with the Black Panther movement and the Civil Rights era movement. Because of this strange year, I don't think it got quite the amount of press that it really deserved to have. But a powerful movie, some great acting through there. I think there were 2 actors nominated for Best Supporting
I believe so.
actor out of that, and both very deserving. Really powerful acting and roles, and put you in that period and kind of from a different perspective. And I think a lot of us think of Black Panthers and we think violence and we think bad things, but these were a group of people that were providing food and shelter
Right.
for the community and doing a lot of positive things in the community, and it sort of highlights that and the struggles that they went through, as well as having spies within their own midst and,
Sure.
and how they deal with that. Is that it? I think that's all.
I believe so, but I did have one question I
Sure.
wanted to ask you. So you had a very interesting take on one of the animated films that is up for a nomination this year, Soul.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen Soul, it's on Disney Plus. It really probably should have been nominated along with Da 5 Bloods, which is definitely not a Disney movie. But I think, you know, there are a lot in the category this year already, and I think that's why there were some snubs going forward. And Soul is a powerful story in its own right, animated or not. And I think because of that, I think it's probably going to easily win the animated category this year, but probably a snub for the Best Picture nominations, because
Sure.
it's a really interesting story about, again, what it means to have a soul and what we leave behind when we die and what that means in our world today.
Okay.
Fantastic. And great soundtrack.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Our resident Oscars expert has given you your list of winners. So if you haven't already, what I would like all of you to do, many of these films are on platforms, like you said, like Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu. If you haven't seen them, especially The Father, according to Evan, go out there and watch them. Now, Evan, I totally respect you and all of your opinions on these films, but I have to say one thing. I hope that my ballot for the Oscars ballot competition beats yours.
Well, I hope it does too.
All right, well, thank you so much, Evan, for coming in and talking with us tonight. Let's get with Lee and speak a little bit more about the history of Isabel's house.
In 2002, a diverse group of Springfield and Greene County leaders from the business, education, nonprofit, healthcare, environment, and volunteer sectors came together to assess the community's assets, gaps, opportunities, and challenges. And in their research, they found that in order to more efficiently connect our community, we needed a way to detail the strengths, or blue ribbons, and weaknesses, or the red flags. This led to the first community focus report, which established that the issues surrounding early childhood merited their own chapter. And in this chapter, child abuse and neglect was first noted as a red flag issue in our community. Based on this data, the Junior League of Springfield partnered with Burrell Behavioral Health, City of Springfield, Cox Health, Community Partnership of the Ozarks, Missouri State University, St. John's Health System, Springfield Greene County Park Board, and United Way of the Ozarks to develop Isabel's house. While research for the project that would form the house began back in 2005, it took almost 2 full years for the resulting plans to be realized in the establishment of a board of directors, the recruiting of essential staff and volunteers, the creation of thorough policies and procedures, the construction and state licensing of the facility, and the outreach and education of referral partners in the community. The creation of Isabel's house was rooted in careful planning and research, including visits to other successful crisis nurseries around the nation, and several committees comprised of area leaders and business professionals. And due to the careful planning of many industry professionals, Isabel's House Crisis Nursery of the Ozarks opened its doors on June 25th, 2007. Since opening, Isabel's House has cared for more than 4,000 children, served more than 2,000 families, has succeeded many times over in the core of its mission to prevent child abuse and neglect. This documentary shows the hard work and dedication of its core partners, volunteers, staff supporters, and the community they serve.
In the spring of 2005, the Junior League of Springfield was dedicated to making a greater impact in one area. Historically, the Junior League of Springfield had touched on several areas each year, and the members really wanted to make a larger impact. And through the board and voting of the membership, we scaled down and focused on one area, which was the prevention of child abuse and neglect. From that, we had a few options, and overwhelmingly, the entire membership voted to create a crisis nursery. So we spent several months going around the country, several different crisis nurseries and informational meetings, learning what the best practices are of a crisis nursery. Anything from the best building we could use, for example, one level, so the caregivers aren't climbing stairs with young children in their hands all the time, to having community partners, such as both hospitals in our community, and other university partnerships, so that we could really depend on different programs for internships and things like that. It was just after a horrible abuse case in the foster care system in our community, and so emotions were very high, and we were able to really reach out across the country as well as locally to different foundations to help, and the state was also very helpful. The Junior League's goal for creating the crisis nursery was to reduce child abuse and neglect in our community.
I've been involved in the community focus report since its beginning, and one of the red flags that came out there was certainly child abuse and neglect.
Child abuse and neglect is really something that you can define as something as easy as physical abuse to a child, or mental ignoring of a child. But I think it's a lot more than that. I think that it is all-encompassing of an environment a child lives in that isn't healthy, that affects that child's health and growth in the future.
It was identified in that very first community focus report back in 2004. Child abuse and neglect has been a red flag since that very first report. And we have made some progress on that through efforts like Isabel's House, but yet it still remains, unfortunately, a red flag yet today.
I think the most common causes of child abuse and neglect in our community and other communities has to do with the environment that they were raised in or live in. I think that families grow up in a cycle to a degree of not knowing how to be a good parent and not having the resources to be a good parent. And I think that is one of the major reasons we see so much child abuse in our local area especially.
And the idea came out then for a crisis nursery. And so just more in the beginning, more of a champion of the cause.
The immediate impact that Isabel's House had on the community was finally having a place where parents could call anytime, day or night, and also that other community agencies that are serving families in other capacities could refer families now to have immediate access and immediate relief of stress, and really have someone to talk to day or night, help work through the challenges, stressors, crises, whatever it might be, without judgment, and really having a low barrier to access those services. There just isn't a long checklist to qualify for accessing and utilizing services at Isabel's House. So I think that really was a big improvement and a big boost to the community.
To get Isabel's House up and running, we had a small board of about 8 women making this happen, but then we had the greater community as well as 500 other Junior League members behind us. And it took every single person to get Isabel's House open, from fundraising dollars to phone calls to our legislation, partnerships in the community. And it took literally hundreds of people, thousands of hours to get Isabel's House open.
Isabel's House has done such a good job of reaching out to the impacted families, and these oftentimes are families that had a bad situation with maybe Division of Family Services or another organization, and they're very skeptical of outside help. So building that trust in the community and with those families has been critical. And I think Isabel's House and their staff and leadership have done a great job meeting families where they are, building that trust, and knowing truly they're there to help and not hinder a family situation.
Isabel's house has definitely adapted over the years to the various needs, and I think to our individual community and then the larger community as we learn more about trauma and the impact that has, where maybe there isn't abuse and neglect, but definitely some of those environmental factors and different family factors and social factors that go into situations that create trauma that can have a lifelong impact. We have navigated a lot of different situations and really worked to get to the yes, we can help you when it comes to serving our families and our children, and really working to meet families, the parents and the children where they are.
Resources and programs that are vital to communities, especially in addressing child abuse and neglect, are ones like Isabel's house, where we're able to address the families and help them, give them that step up that they need to be involved and to get their life back together so that those children don't suffer from some of these impacts that we see secondary to child abuse and neglect. Other things that are very important are resources that help with food, with homelessness, resources that can help with mental health, in helping families address any kind of psychological problems they have. Most kids that are suffering from any type of childhood trauma, their parents did as well. So we just need to make sure that we are able to be there for both the family and the children.
That trauma can have far-reaching impacts. But locally, you know, when you start looking at that, parents are really doing the very best that they can. They want to prevent those situations, and so sometimes in an effort to prevent those situations or be proactive and working to improve their situation, it adds additional stressors. And knowing where resources are, how to access them. There are a lot of resources in our community, but many times parents don't know who to call first and how to get help, and then being able to have the courage to do that and the strength to do that is a challenge. So look at that. I know employers are impacted by that. We have received calls from employers before looking for resources. They don't know where to turn either. Some of the situations are new to them as well. But it has such a far-reaching impact.
Some of the very first impacts I think it had on the community was how it brought the community together. Before we were even open, the agencies that came together to set up really safe best practices and guidelines for Isabel's house, it was incredible to see, and we had wonderful news coverage of how these different partners were working together to make this happen. So very, very, at the very beginning, we were able to see communities working together that maybe don't necessarily do that very often, different facilities working together, I guess. And so that was really impactful, getting the doors open and seeing how we could come together to start this program. Of course, when the doors were open, the impact that we would have talking to parents immediately, families immediately, of the reduced stress they had from having their kids at Isabel's house. The idea is always to reunify the family, and I think we're well above 97% on reunification. So that shows us, and it did from the very beginning, that we were getting the families when they needed the help.
Isabel's house filled a much needed gap for us when they launched. So that is a place that they can go. Again, it's a trusted place, it's a caring place, and that's provided a big role in our community for addressing this cycle.
My name is Khadijah Nicholas, and I am a swing shift child advocate at Isabel's house. When I was 7, my family and I came to use Isabel's services because we were experiencing homelessness, and a lot of things were going on at the time, and my mom just kind of needed a place for us while she was getting her life together. It's something I always think about when I work, and it was very eye-opening to come here and be involved with the people who took care of me at the time. I feel like my experience of staying here when I was little to being a child advocate has helped me a lot be the person that the kids need at the time. Like if there's an older kid, I can kind of relate a little bit more to them on how they, don't necessarily feel like they need to be here or want to be here, but to connect to them and let them know like it doesn't last forever and it's a temporary thing so that later in life things can be better for them. I would describe a day in the life of a child advocate as hectic and fun. There's never a dull moment in the house. There's laughter, there's tears, there's just always time to grow on both parts, like when you're with the kids and just learning from them. We learn a lot from the kids. They teach us more than we probably teach them.
Our child advocates are amazing team members who are taking care of all of our children's needs day in and day out, 24/7 around the clock. So from providing that love to fixing dinner, all of our meals, to changing diapers, bath time, you name it, anything involved with the care of the kiddos is what they're doing. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of love, and a lot of compassion, and they are there for all of it.
If someone was considering using Isabel's house, I would let them know that we're here to help and we're not here to judge. We're here to be open-minded about any situation and help in any way that we can.
Our family advocates provide case management for every family who brings their children to Isabel's house and for those who reach out and just are wanting support over the phone as well. They're helping them problem solve and identify their priorities. They're helping them connect with other agencies and resources in the community and work through their individual situation and crisis.
What inspires me the most about Isabel's house is their compassion for any situation. They're willing to accommodate any family situation. Like with my family, my sister was past the age range to stay at Isabel's house, but to keep our family together and care for a child that could end up on the streets and homeless, they took her in and helped her, even when it wasn't policy.
Having been through this program and been a part of this program for the last 16 years, our community suffers child abuse and neglect in many stages. And that's from families that can't break the cycle, and it's all they know, and it's how they were raised. And we're there to help them break the cycle. We're there to let them know that there's a safer place for their child to sleep at night. There's a better way to try to go out and get a job to support their family, to keep these kids safe.
We are seeing it and capturing it and addressing it, so that's a positive. But it also is something that, again, can be generational if we don't stop it and stop that cycle. So it's so critical for us to be able to address that. And that will make us a healthier, more vibrant community. And again, if we can turn that around, those children aren't going to grow up to be that parent that might address their children that way as well.
I would let them know that when it's 100% voluntary, there's absolutely nothing that we're going to require them to do to ask questions. They can ask questions, they can provide their name, they may choose not to, that's fine. We'll do it in a way that feels safe to them, and also that we're there to provide support, the kind of support they need, not necessarily here's all we can do is just this little bit. We want to meet them where they are, and that we're not here to judge. It's not anyone's job at Isabel's house to judge. We're there to listen, and we're there to help and to serve and help them grow stronger as a family. That's our only job.
Had it not been an option in 2007, I probably wouldn't. Our whole family situation would just be different. Like we wouldn't have had that 2 weeks to 3 weeks that we were here for my mom to find a place for us to stay or a shelter.
We are that piece for families, and I think that's pretty amazing. When you know that you've got someone who has your back, things don't seem quite as scary or daunting or overwhelming.
It was just very impactful for the rest of my life, and it kind of shaped who I am today and how I approach situations, and I always approach it with the same compassion that Isabel's house had for my family. I try to have that same compassion.
What a powerful testament to Isabel's house and the community that has supported it from the very beginning. Since its inception, Isabel's house has become a critical component in our community for providing each child in their care the necessary components to fulfill their emotional, physical, and developmental needs.
We provide comforts such as a warm bath after a day at school or at play, clean clothes to play, learn, and sleep in, well-lit spaces for completing homework and reading books, hot and freshly prepared meals to ensure nutrition and full tummies, clean sheets and comforters for a great night of sleep, home-like spaces for families to relax and spend quality time while visiting their children, a 24/7 line for families to talk with our staff at any time, and so much more each and every day at Isabel's house.
But we would not be able to do that without the commitment and support from all of you. Preventing child abuse and neglect with crisis interventions such as Isabel's house not only keep children safe in the short term, but the resources and skills and support they provide help children and families avoid adverse childhood effects and the associated long-term negative effects like health, social, and economic impacts.
The house and its dedicated team of staff and volunteers act as primary resources to not only facilitate resolving crisis through case management, but also by providing outreach to fellow agencies and referral sources so more individuals can be aware of our services. With the unique qualifications and roles we serve, Isabel's house is providing support to help families prevent child abuse and neglect and strengthen families 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And with your continued support and generous donations, we will be able to continue our work for many more years to come.
The community is so appreciative of your work and everybody that supports it. So, show's about ready to start. Hopefully you got the ballot competition done because you don't have any more time for that. We also have Sponsor a Child, so there are ways you can get involved. And we have great auction items up for bid and a gorgeous diamond that you can get a raffle ticket for. So get on that. And in the meantime, so nice hanging out with you, Holly.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here.
Nice hanging out with you guys too. Enjoy the show.